Yep. Ding, let's go. This is going to be a relatively strange one. A lot of stuff that I've never really put into words. And maybe that's the best type of content. Ding, let's go. So, I mentioned in the previous video that I would make an entire video attemptedly, yeah, I think that's the word. I'm attempting the word attemptedly. Okay. And I'm tempted to temper my temperature and navigate the aperture of the apple of the tree. Anyway, I guess that's sort of an example of the topic at hand, which is you are the sum result. You get what you give. I'm trying to think of like a tagline, because it's like your essence, your aura, your vibes essentially speak for themselves, where it's like you're living the life that you're living to a large extent. I'm not going to say like completely, utterly, because our perception gets clouded too, where it's like, oh, are you saying that I deserve this life of, pain and struggle and, the childhood trauma, etc., etc.? Like, are you saying I deserved all that? And it's like, the short answer is no. The longer answer is, it's very layered, and the semantics, the words, especially given each person's different kind of vocabulary landscape and interpretation of words and ascribed meaning to certain words, right? Where it's like, I can say a phrase like, you get what you give. And somebody could be like, somebody could take offense to that. Be like, what are you saying? What are you saying? And it's like, and then, I could in theory go into detail. I mean, as I will, but in this hypothetical little, like, side scenario, it's like, look, it's like, I could go into detail, but the fact that, like, you're already offended is pretty telltale that perhaps as I try to give more context, give a better explanation, give more of a bird's eye view, give more of a 360-degree spherical landscape viewing of the topic at hand, if there's a lack of receptivity, if there's a lack of flexibility, malleability, openness, spontaneity to your listening and communication skills, it's like the feet are already shot, right? So again, and I will certainly keep those considerations even more so. I've been doing it to, I would argue, a pretty decent extent, but I'll do that more so in future videos, where it's like more careful consideration for the potential mental emotional spikes that may occur from certain words, even though it's like, PC culture, you could argue, has gotten a little bit much already, and it may be getting even more finicky. We shall see. But back to the topic at hand, as I will attempt. The energy, like the vibe, it's like you can imagine it, if you want, as like the aura, or just like the field that you're inevitably kind of contributing as. And we could just go even more like plain Jane, like logical and slightly less metaphysical by saying, your body language, like the more subtle stuff that is like pretty undeniable, which is how you speak and you communicate to other people. We're talking body language, we're talking eye contact or lack thereof, we're talking, your level of hygiene and aesthetics, right? Where it's like, I know at times my hair can get messy, but like, honestly, I feel like that's my style, where if it was like too like well done, I would feel like I'm trying to like portray something that is not as me as I can be, because like my hair, I like love and benefit from and relate through creativity and being a little outside the box and being a little wild and little sprinkles of chaos, because as much as people can shake their fist at chaos, it's like, well, chaos is the whirlwind, like the hurricane, the tornado that like makes room and can, in a more regimented sense, create new things, right? Too much order and you get stagnation and predictability and a slow and boring death, right? So you need both. So anyway, in terms of communication, the aesthetics, how you present yourself through your body language, your tone of voice, eye contact, facial expressions, and your ability for things like restraint, not oversharing, just like not having like awkward silence, because maybe you're like a little too heady, and that's fine. Like that's rather neither here nor there, but it's like these things are very real, and these are byproducts of who you are, like on the heart and soul level. So it comes out in things like that. And I'm gonna have to do a part 2. So let's see. Okay, just checking where we are time-wise. All right, so let me add a little more, then we'll end it, then I'll do a part 2. Acorn. Okay. So just the fact that people can get a sense of you just through your body language and your modes of communication alone just shows you, it gets you started in understanding that your energy, your essence, your vibe is affecting things, and it is, really true. At the risk of getting a little woo-woo, but like I've experienced it enough times where it's like what goes around comes around, like, and then the concept of like you receive what you are, and and this goes in line with like, what are your like true desires? Like, what are your like true priorities? Like, where are you truly spending your time? So like these more like subtle internal things, like you can get to understanding. You can just like, meditate and contemplate and journal about these things where it's like, oh, I do have those tendencies. And this could go on like in your daily life where you're just living your life and you just have a side thought, as things are going on, or like you do something and then someone says something and you reflect on it. So these reflections can just like pop up in the moment, and you could just reflect and be like, oh, I guess I do react in that sort of way, or oh, I guess, I do think that way, and oh, I guess that does come out when these circumstances happen, when this stimulus is, evoking me. I guess that is really happening. So, essentially, this gives more and more credence to this concept of the aura, the vibe, the field. What goes around comes around. And we will chat more soon. Part 2 very soon. This is Mac 11. Catch you later.